Hello and welcome to r/Entitled Parents, a place where people submit stories of all these wonderful mothers and fathers thinking that because they have kids, they are entitled to everything. And so our first story comes from shygirlturnedsassy. My boyfriend's cousin, his parental uncle's daughter, has 4 children. Each of her kids is a personification of the word bratty. The said cousin refuses to discipline them and constantly makes excuses for their behaviour. She is also very judgmental of our decision not to have children. She has often made some snide comments towards me, implying that I'm the selfish cunt who is depriving my BF of the joys of raising children. For these reasons and for her generally entitled behaviour, my boyfriend had cut ties with her. However, when he and I visited his parental home 3 days ago for his parents' anniversary celebration, we ran into her again. My boyfriend's dad had urged him to use this occasion to mend bridges with the cousin, so we both tried to make nice and engaged in small talk with her. During our conversation, BF mentioned that we were leaving for Melbourne for vacation in a few days. At this, cousin's eyes lit up. "Oh, that sounds like so much fun," she said. "My husband and I haven't gone anywhere since our honeymoon." She whined some more about how hard it is for them with 4 kids, if only they could afford such luxuries, etc, etc, etc. I could tell where this was going. My boyfriend probably felt sorry for her, and being the kind and generous soul that he is, offered to buy them a weekend in a resort in Mount Abu, a hill state in the Indian state of Rajasthan. Cousin, face scrunched up. "That's nice, but why can't you just take us to Melbourne with you?" BF, getting a little bit annoyed but staying patient. "Well, we want to spend some time alone together. Plus, we'll be meeting some close friends there. Besides, Mount Abu is a beautiful place. Your kids will love it." Cousin, in the annoying Karen tone, "I still don't see why you can't take us to Australia. You're being so selfish, going on this great trip and sticking your family with a cheap weekend getaway." BF's mum. Cousin's name. "He's making a very generous offer. Either take it or leave it." Cousin, wearing the expression that morons wear when they think they've had a bright idea. "Oh, I know. Why don't my husband and I go to Mount Abu and you can take our kids to Melbourne?" Me. "What?" "It's a great idea. The kids can have fun in Melbourne with the 2 of you, and my hubby and I can enjoy a peaceful weekend. This way the kids can actually spend some time with their uncle. You never make time for them. I'm offering for the last time. It's either the weekend in Mount Abu or nothing at all. And why the hell would we ruin our vacation by taking care of your kids?" "How can you say that? My kids are so well behaved. You'll have so much fun spending time with them. Besides, my husband and I could really use some quiet time together. You and Shy Girl Turned Sassy don't have any responsibilities. You have no idea how hard it is to raise 4 kids. You can afford this trip. I don't see why you won't share with family." One more word, and you're losing my Mount Abu offer. On hearing this, the cousin STFU. We all had dinner together and she was mercifully quiet. If only her kids had followed her example. You'd think this would be the end of it. But no! We had seriously underestimated her dedication to her Karenness. This morning, cousin showed up at my apartment with kids in tow. I was shocked to see her, of course, and asked if something was wrong. She smiled and said, "I'm just here to drop off the kids. You're leaving tonight, right?" After taking a second to recover from the shock, I asked, "Did you fall and hit your head on something? We told you we weren't taking your kids with us. What part of that did you not understand?" She then tried to convince me that my BF had called her later on and had agreed to take the kids. I knew this was bullshit and called it as such. Cousin became enraged and asked if I was going to break her kids' heart. Why would I break our promise and how BF and I could be so cold? I called my BF and after telling him what was going on, I turned on the speaker. My boyfriend proceeded to chew her out brutally, telling her he would no longer pay for their weekend getaway, and that this is exactly the kind of behaviour that had made him cut ties with her. She tried to get a word in, but he wouldn't let her. Cousin took her kids and stormed off. BF and I are having a laugh over this, and are still wondering what made her think that this plan would ever work. My lord, it's almost hard to believe that people like this are actually out there, but my god, folks, I can assure you, there are people like this out there. There are entitled so-called Karens like this out there. People who actually feel as though it is someone else's responsibility to look after their children. Someone who feels so entitled to you looking after their children. These people are ridiculous. These people are the most selfish people there are. They will project onto others and say, "Hey, why are you being so selfish? Why aren't you looking after my kids? Why aren't you helping out and letting us go on vacation with you?" When in reality, these are the people who are the most selfish of all. Our next story of supreme selflessness comes from user rslashcallousheart. This just happened to me, and I'm both shocked and laughing my arse off. I was on a bus on my way to college, listening to a punk band I've recently gotten heavily into. A band from Brixen in the German-speaking region of South Tyrol in Italy called Frey Wild. The bus is fairly packed, so I'm right at the front where you'd park a pram or a wheelchair. A woman with a pram gets onto the bus and sits with the only free seat, next to me. She looks down at my phone, why I still can't work out, and sees that I'm listening to a song called Shygirlturnedsassy, Wo verlier, liegen bleiben, roughly translated, rather aptly to Winners stand where losers fall, and yanks one of my earphones out. You live in Scotland? Stop listening to your shitty Polish music. God, all of you fucking polkas are all the same, refusing to be decent citizens and speak English. This is why we voted to leave the EU. Scotland didn't, but I digress. So we could get you retards out of here. I'm Scottish, born and bred. Apart from a week in Amsterdam, 2 weeks in Morocco, 3 weeks in the States and a week in France, I've stayed very much in the UK my entire life. Never been to Poland, or Germany for that matter. I eventually had enough of her bullshit, so I tried to put her in her place. This is German music. Also, I was born here to my Scottish parents. Karen tried to make her rebuttal, but I got there first. Also, how does me listening to some punk rock that happens to be in German affect you? I have my headphones, you can't hear it. Karen's eyes lit up, as if she'd won the Karen lottery. Why are you listening to that sinful demonic music in public? You're gonna scare my kid. I look in the pram. Firstly, your child is soon asleep. Secondly, I have my headphones in, you can't hear it. I can't hear it. Fuck off and let me listen to my music in peace. Maybe Polish people aren't a problem in this country. Maybe it's stuck-up judgmental racist cunts like you. As I called her out on her BS, she whacked the stop button and yeeted herself in the pram right off the bus at the next stop. Thank fuck. What is it with these Karens on public transport, in shops, just everywhere, just inserting themselves into everyone else's business? Who gives a damn what music someone listens to? How dare someone listen to music that's not in English? How dare they? Absolutely disgusting, you know. I for one, I really don't want to ever hear about anyone I know listening to music in a different language. That is just absolutely atrocious. That is what's wrong with the world, folks. Absolutely despicable. You know, I have no time for people who listen to music in other languages. This woman was obviously completely in the right here. Barging into that guy's personal space, pulling his earphone out of his ear. Sounds very reasonable and rational, if you ask me. It was most certainly her civic duty to have a look at his phone and see what kind of music he was listening to. Our final story today comes from user Brightside256. Background. I just recently had a new family move into my neighborhood. The neighborhood is relatively small and close-knit. The kind of neighborhood where everyone knows each other and we generally all get along well. We have big block parties and shoot off fireworks together on holidays. The new family is a middle-aged couple with their 4 children. The kids' age range from around 14 to 2. This incident is just the first of several problems that I have had with this family since they moved in. I was hanging around in the living room just relaxing and watching TV. From the couch I have a clear view into my backyard. That's when I noticed the retractable cover of my swimming pool begin to roll up. I was home alone, and no one else has access to my backyard. For insurance reasons, I have a lock on my back gate because of the pool. The gate always remains locked, as we would be liable if anything was to happen in the yard. I rush outside and see what was going on. That's when I see EM standing next to my pool with her 4 children. They are dressed in their swimsuits, and EM is rolling up the cover of my pool. Excuse me, what the fuck do you think you're doing in my backyard? My kids have been well behaved today, and they want to go for a swim. I saw that you have a pool, so we're going for a dip. This is not a public pool, EM, and you're on my private property. I need you to get out of my backyard now. I've never told you that you're allowed to come into my property without permission. Who the hell do you think you are? This is a hot day and my kids want to go for a swim, and they will. Not in my private pool, they will not. How did you even get in my yard anyway? The gate is locked. Fuck off! In my old neighborhood, we did this all the time. My kids are going for a swim now, and you will not even know we are here. You are just being selfish, and I will not allow my babies to suffer because of your bad mood. I will not ask again, EM. You either get the hell off my property now, or I will call the police. You are not using my pool, and that is final. Okay, kids, jump on in. Don't listen to this stupid bitch. Yeah, you stupid bitch. We're gonna go for a swim now, and you can't stop us. That's it. I'm calling the police. EM now sees that I'm serious and tries to reason with me. You would really not allow 4 kids to go for a swim on a hot day? What kind of heartless person are you? Just let us go swimming for an hour and we will leave. Don't you want to be a good neighbour to us? No, I do not. You just broke into my backyard without permission? Please get off my property right now. EM starts to mumble something to her kids, and then she grabs her two youngest kids and starts to walk out of my yard. I then turn around and see her two oldest boys still standing by the pool. I start to walk over to them to tell them to go with EM, and that's when I see what they're doing. Her two oldest hellspawns are peeing into my pool. Maybe that will teach you to be a better neighbour, you stupid bitch. Grabs the arms of the two oldest and pushes them out of the gate. Get the fuck off my property, you disgusting little shits. Don't you dare lay a hand on my babies, or I will call the police on you. Who do you think they will believe? A good mummy, or a pathetic little bitch like you? You just got what you deserve. Enjoy swimming in your piss pool. They all walk off laughing as they went back to their house. I was in complete shock and I didn't know what to do. I now wish I called the police after this first incident, but sadly I did not, and things have since escalated with this family. Remember how I said that I had a lock on the gate? Later I found it broken and on the ground. I have no idea what they used to smash it, but they were successful. I have since purchased a much more heavy-duty lock. This story is almost unbelievable, folks. Wow. Can you imagine just someone breaking into your backyard to use your pool without your permission? Obviously, they must have thought that this guy wasn't home or something, but these people broke into the garden, the backyard, to go use this pool. And then when confronted about it, when confronted by the owner of the pool, the mother had the kids do a piss in the pool. My lord, what is wrong with people? It's actually really hard to believe that there are people who are truly like this out there. But that's not where it ends, because user Brightside256 posted an update to the situation. Event 2. I came home from shopping the next day and found out that EM went into my backyard a second time. I was out at the hardware store buying a new lock for the gate when this occurred. Before I had left to go shopping, I asked my elderly neighbour to keep an eye out for EM, just in case. Here is what my neighbour told me happened. She said that EM and her kids were in the backyard playing with my family's lawn games. We have several, such as lawn darts, ladder ball, a fake axe throwing game, etc. She didn't know how long they had been in the yard when she'd noticed them. She went onto her deck and told them to leave. After making a fuss again, they complied and left. Apparently a lot of swearing and a full-blown tantrum was involved. I went into the yard to investigate and see if anything had been taken. Nothing was taken, but at most of a few games had damage. A few darts were snapped, an axe was broken, and my inflatable unicorn float for the pool was popped. I was livid at this point and couldn't believe this happened again. I spoke to my parents about this incident and I wanted to call the police. My parents told me not to bother though, that it was just cheap stuff and I should let it go. They told me that the police wouldn't care about something so trivial. Ultimately, they are the homeowners, so it was not my decision. I did make a point of taking all the broken pieces and throwing them over her front lawn, a few bags of dog waste included, for extra fun. Honestly, I don't blame the guy at this point. You might say that's petty, but I do not blame this guy for being pissed off and throwing dog shit across into his neighbor's lawn. Like, if you ask me, that woman totally deserves it. Event 3. The entitled kids went into another elderly neighbour's front garden and picked almost every one of her flowers. She had a beautiful garden with roses and other expensive flowers in it. It was my neighbour's pride and joy. She had been working on that garden ever since I was a child. I was walking my dog when I found her crying in her garden as she cleaned up the mess. When she told me the story of what had happened, it broke my heart. I asked her if she was going to call the police and she said they already had. They had come earlier in the day and had gone over to talk to EM. EM defended the kids' actions by saying it was her birthday, and the kids thought she deserved a beautiful present. Wasn't that lovely of them? She even proudly showed the bouquet off to the police officers. The police didn't do anything other than give her a verbal warning and file a report. She's playing the police at this point, but what are they really going to do? Are they going to arrest someone for picking flowers? Event 4. The neighbourhood has a park only 3 houses down from EM's home. Instead of walking there like a normal person, she would load her kids up in the car and drive them over. There isn't a parking lot at this park, and most people who drive there will park on the side of the road. Not EM though. She will run over the curb and park directly beside the children's playground equipment. She has done this numerous times regardless of if there are other people at the playground. She will just honk her horn at you and scream for you to move. I have a video and pictures of her doing this. For the purpose of keeping this anonymous, I am not going to post them, as our park has a unique setup. Some of the other neighbourhood parents were obviously furious over her actions, and she was confronted about this behaviour. I stood with them watching as I was walking my dog at the time, and I was very curious to see how this ended. They told her she could hit a child or animal by doing this. She just started saying we were racist and that we were harassing her. She then went and called the police on us. She was acting very smug by doing this and seemed genuinely proud of herself. She told the group that we were going to be sorry for the way we have treated her since she moved in. As soon as the police came, she began to cry and claim that we had all been harassing her for weeks. She made up a whole bunch of lies about things we had done to her. She even threw herself on the ground and acted like a child. 2 of her kids joined in on this tantrum, and the others just continued to play. The police interviewed everyone who was present, and it was very clear that she was wrong in this situation. The police pulled her aside and talked to her. She was given a very hefty ticket for reckless driving, and she was told that if this happened again, she would be charged. For once, she was silent and just left with her kids. To my knowledge, she has not done this again since. I feel so bad for anyone who lives in the same neighborhood as this woman. Can you imagine living near someone that would be so entitled as to break into your backyard, to use your things as if they are entitled to use your things, to break your things, to go over to the park, just to be a nuisance to everyone? Can you imagine living near someone this annoying? Someone who is this detrimental to your neighborhood? That would be, my lord, absolutely horrendous. Folks, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button so that you get updated every time I post a new video. And I'll be back with some more Reddit stories very, very soon.